Great. So next up, we've got a keynote where I had really to read a lot about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't understand, not even me, who's kind of reading all kind of digital innovations and trends and whatever it's going to like. That topic was really kind of mind-blowing. So we're talking about dynamic mindset advertising. If you've got no idea what it is, don't worry, I'm going to read it for you. Just imagine you had a machine learning algorithm with a user-based segmentation that determines which content to display to whom, or better, when not to display it to someone, and so that it's not disturbing someone when he's playing some kind of game on his mobile or wherever. So it's a game-playing experience we are talking about now. And the speaker who's coming up is the CEO of Woobi. That's one of the first companies to focus solely on game monetization and advertising technologies. So please welcome on stage Chaya Soggot. Come on, wake up. Clap your hands. That's the way to do it.
When I first got the call about speaking here at Dmexco, I was 9 months pregnant and timing contractions. This didn't only help speed up the delivery, which lasted under 2 hours, but following that, the fear and nausea of standing here in front of you has helped me lose my baby weight. So thank you. Now to business. Since this is a session about in-game advertising, let's start by playing a game. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. Think quick. Let's start. Let's play. I'm playing Tetris, and the J block comes into my screen. Where should I place it in order to complete a row? Next question. I'm playing Candy Crush. I just so happen to have the opportunity to create a chocolate bomb. Which candy piece should I move in order to create the right combination? Next question. Now we're taking it up a notch, so listen carefully. I'm playing Temple Run. I'm running, I'm gaining speed, I take a quick turn to the left, and I end up falling off a cliff. 3 seconds later, I have resurrected. Which booster was I using? Now, not only did you recognize these games, but I'm guessing that many of you knew the answer to at least one of my questions. Now you are not alone. There are 2 billion people playing games worldwide. That's a very big number, so let's try and visualize that. Let's take the entire population of North America, add to that the entire population of South America. Let's include Europe, East Europe, West Europe, and all of Russia. Let's add West Asia. Now, we're getting close, but we're not quite there. So let's add in Oceania and the 12 people that live in Antarctica. Now, I believe you get the big picture. These 2 billion people are spending 3 billion hours a week playing games. That is almost 50,000 years a day. That is more time spent playing games than we spend streaming on YouTube and Netflix put together. But these users, they aren't only spending time, they're also spending money. Globally, the revenue generated in the gaming industry is twice as much as the global film industry. It's 6 times as big as the global music industry. It's 10 times what Hollywood hopes to bring in a year. But who is this audience that's playing games? Male and female, from the age of 2 to the age of 65, we are all playing. It's your child, it's your spouse, it's your parent, it's your friend, it's your boss, it's your customer, it's your customer's customer, and your customer's customer's PA. If there's one thing we can learn from this data, is that there is no such thing as a player persona. Now, if we take the number of people, the time spent, the size of the industry, and the wide demographic spend, this makes gaming one of today's biggest media channels. However, a notable thing about this audience is that during gameplay, they hardly ever budge from their screen. They don't fast forward, they don't flip through channels, and they don't put their screen down during a commercial break in order to grab a beer. While playing games, you are 100% screen dedicated. And when we play our cards right, we get your undivided attention. So much so that according to Forbes, in-game advertising has found to increase brand recommendation by 23%, purchase intent by 24%, and overall brand rating by 32%. Now, this is surprising and impressive because the common creative formats that you commonly see were not designed for games. You don't need to be familiar with in-game advertising in order to recognize the banner and interstitial. There is, however, a form of sponsored advertising where the brand can take sponsorship over a user's gameplay, but this too must be within context. So let's step into the user's shoes for just a minute and see what this might look like from his point of view. Well, this is one thing that might happen when you try to integrate a non-native format. Thank you. But it's not what I intended to show.
Over the last few years, in-game advertising led a big change in how brands communicate with their target audiences, creating new and exciting opportunities for advertisers to interact with their users. These quality users show high engagement levels, and advanced targeting capabilities allow focus on specific audiences. This is why in-game advertising outperforms both traditional and other digital advertising formats. Great success, no doubt about it. The flexible nature of digital games also enables brand presence throughout the entire course of the game session. But, much like other first-generation technologies, it doesn't always work out the way you planned. For example, you can't always control when or where your ad pops up, meaning you might end up barging in uninvited, or at times, the advertised brand, well, doesn't really fit like a glove with the person or the context in which it's served. To say the least. There is also an unfortunately common problem of ad attacks that is no fun at all. There's got to be a better way. How can we get it right every time?
So that is an excellent question. How can we get it right every time? The answer is by putting the individual's current experience into account. Thank you. It's what we call gameplay monetization. While media monetization is passive, gameplay monetization becomes a part of the user's actual experience by being integrated into the winning and losing moments of the game. Once we are integrated into these loops, we can decide to cheer, rescue, or reward a user when he needs it the most. This creates a brand affinity like no other. But it goes deeper than that. Different users play different games for different psychological reasons. I myself, I'm a competitive player. Some might play as a social activity, and others might play when they're just bored. The point is, we don't behave in the same way, therefore we shouldn't be approached in the same way. And I'll give you an example. If I were to sponsor a competitive player and offer him assistance within the game, before he's even tried playing, he is probably going to turn me down. He believes he can do this on his own. However, offer him that same helping hand after he's lost 4 or 5 times, and then you've got yourself a fan. So, how can you reach that level of personalization? We've developed a software called DMA, Dynamic Mindset Advertising. DMA studies gaming patterns and gameplay, and it can predict when the user is in the most receptive mindset to engaging with your brand before even displaying an ad. Using machine learning algorithms, DMA doesn't only determine which content to display to whom and when, but just as importantly, when not to display content so we don't interrupt users' gameplay. This, of course, increases your ROI because it reduces unnecessary spend. Now, take a look at the screen. The user is playing his word game, and then he ran out of time. Once we are able to identify that moment of need, and we serve the right content to that user when he needs it the most, we are bound to create a much deeper engagement and leave a long-lasting impression. Now, what are the figures behind this technology? For the sake of this case study, we're going to be comparing digital advertising, standard digital advertising, to simple in-game advertising, and then to DMA-powered in-game advertising. We ran the InfiniSilk campaign with our partners at Universal McCann. When we first got the brief, they already had a campaign running on social video platforms. They were looking to increase brand awareness and boost the performance in terms of engagement beyond the view. We ran the campaign across our entire network on both desktop and mobile games, simple integration and DMA-powered integrations. Now, in terms of completion rates, the results were great. They more than doubled when it came to in-game advertising, and they even passed that when it came to DMA. However, what was completely outstanding were the engagement rates, where they increased by almost 400%. So what is it about DMA that is able to create such incredible results? Once you put the user in the center and you provide a good experience with both game and brand, that is your answer. So let's go back and see how that feels like from a user's point of view.
Introducing DMA, Dynamic Mindset Advertising. It's the next generation of in-game advertising. DMA connects the advertiser and the user at the exact moment the user is in the most receptive mindset to engage. DMA is a learning technology seeking to address each user's own preferences during gameplay. Rather than talking about clicks or impressions, DMA studies a user's changing likes and dislikes during the course of the entire game session. And as it is a learning technology, DMA determines when or when not to serve the ad to a specific user, thus reducing the unnecessary spend within a premium, safe environment for brands. Now that is what we call user engagement. Right content, right user, right mindset. Getting it right every time.
All right, so We've spoken about the gaming industry. We've talked about in-game advertising. We've touched on DMA, and we've seen this all from a user's point of view. This could be a lot to take in one session, and there was still a lot more that we wanted to share with you. So we put together that care package with more data and insights that we're sure you'll enjoy. Go ahead and download it there. And this has been a pleasure. Thank you very much.